like the biggest mistake that people make is getting in the wrong ship, getting in the wrong boat, right? And to translate that to business, it's like getting in the wrong offer that doesn't have the potential that you want it to have, right? There's always ways to squeeze extra money through by selling to your existing customers or whatnot. But if you run an advertising driven business, you know, you better make sure you've got a large market that you can advertise to.
Unlock the secret sauce of millionaire entrepreneurs. This is your exclusive VIP pass to the hidden world of the ultra successful business owners. I'm Chad Kaderi, CEO of DashClicks, and welcome to Behind the Revenue. Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are on another episode of Behind the Revenue. Got a good friend on this time. It's Joel Erway. Joel, I've been following you now for quite a while. I know we've done, I think you were at an event that we did together in the past. So we've had a couple of acquaintances where we've gotten together. We've talked about business. We've talked about marketing. I know that you're doing a lot of stuff in your business right now. Just for context for the viewers, just tell us a little bit about kind of what you're doing right now and a little bit more about your business.
Yeah, great question. So really the core focus of what we do is we help design a variety of customer acquisition strategies for our clients. You know, we got in the game exclusively doing webinars, and then we've since evolved from webinars to do all sorts of other types of customer acquisition strategies. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's our specialty.
So let's peel the onion back a little bit. When you say customer acquisition strategies, give me some examples of some of the things that you're doing for some of your customers.
Yep. So, you know, primarily the people that I serve, they're in the online education space. So course creators, you know, coaches, those are the two primary avatars that we speak to. And so, you know, in that world, you've got the course creators who really primarily want to sell, you know, lower ticket products, and you've got the coaches and, you know, the agencies that want to sell higher ticket products. And so we serve that mix. And, you know, a lot of what we've done in the past has helped people drive, you know, appointments to their calendar, like design offers that get people to raise their hand for premium, mid-ticket, high-ticket offers. So that's one area of our business. But we also focus on like the course creators, right? Because a lot of course creators really don't want to get on the phone. They want to teach, they want to educate, they want to help, they want to serve. And so they want to set up, you know, some form of automated or semi-automated sales system where they can, you know, sell one to many. And so that's our specialty. It's kind of where webinars came in back in the day. Like we started with webinars, then went to appointment funnels. Now we've kind of swung the pendulum back to, you know, other types of one-to-many sales systems that, you know, people can leverage, you know, without needing to get on the phone.
So are you running the entire kind of front end and maybe back? Like, are you building the funnel? Are you writing all the email copy? You're writing the sales copy, creating the VSL? Like how deep are you running the ads? Talk to me a little bit about that. I'm actually curious about that.
Yeah. So we shut our agency down last year. So we don't really do any, you know, private client work anymore. A lot of it is teaching, education, coaching programs, courses, etc.
Gotcha.
You know, if people join my email list, they'll see that I do tons and tons of live workshops. And that's the primary mode in which I love to deliver my premium content. So I'll do, you know, a 1-day workshop or a 2-day workshop or a 4-day workshop teaching one very specific action item, right? And they're usually paid. And so I'll run these paid workshops. People join live, and they also get access to the recordings. But that's how I deliver my content right now, is primarily through live paid workshops.
Gotcha. And are you running these workshops to a warm audience? Are you running paid ads to cold traffic and running workshops that way? How are you getting customers for this model?
Yeah, so I call it the workshop model, and this is probably the most well-received topic that I've launched in the past couple of years. And so really what we do is I have a pre-recorded workshop. I call it the Power Offer Workshop, which teaches people a very specific script that helps them, you know, they can run ads to it, they can run it to warm, cold, anywhere. a very specific lead generation script that helps them get more booked appointments. So we've been running cold traffic, paid ads to that for 4 years now. And we've generated, I don't know, something like 7,000 customers with that. So that is one of our primary front end customer acquisition tools. So people will see that, they'll buy it, and then they'll get added to my list. And so that's the first part of the workshop of, kind of like acquiring the customers, building the list. The second part
Is
of
that
the
a low
workshop,
ticket? Just to add some
27
context. That
bucks.
27. Okay, that's what I was
Yep.
saying. Okay.
Yeah, we have a couple other options too, like but yes, 27 bucks. Anyway,
So
so
you're
that
currently
builds the
running
list.
ads to that. That's how people are
Yes. Yep.
finding out about who you are. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
So we've been running ads to that for about 4 years. And now now that they're on my list, what I do is I like once a week, or I will say not once a week, but like once or twice a month, I will promote to them a live paid workshop on a variety of different topics, right? It's not just one specific type of work. I've probably done 10 different varieties of workshops, and they're all, for the most part, live, unless I'm selling the recordings later on. But for this conversation's purposes, they're live. So I'll run a live paid workshop once or twice a month, promote that to my list, and on that workshop, some people will raise their hands like, "Hey, I want to learn more." Now, you can look at a variety of different, like the challenge model, the webinar model. Like those are all models that are designed for Ascension and for sales.
Yep.
Like the reason why I love the workshop model is because it's not sales focused, like it's service focused. Like there's no, like the way that I ascend people is like there's no secret formula. Like there's no secret pitch. There's no like, you look at some people who do like 3-day live workshops. Every freaking hour of every second of every day is planned. It's like, no, this is what we talk about here. This is what, like, so that you put them through a process. And it's like, that's not how, 90% of the world operates, right? If you've got a sales background, awesome. Go do that. Like that makes you're comfortable in that element. That's great. But the strong majority of my audience, they're not that. They're teachers at heart. They're product owners. They're experts, and they just want to serve more people. And so the reality is that you've got a roughly 10% of your audience who's always willing to ascend no matter what you do. Like as long as you're providing goodwill and value, like you're always going to have 10 to 20% of your audience who's like ready to take the next step if you are just competent and know, and you're actually delivering good value to them. And so I kind of use that as my rule of thumb for everything that I do with the workshop model. I'm fortunate right now. I've been in this game for a long time where I have a list large enough where I don't even need to sell back-end services on those workshops. And 95% of the time, I don't. Like, it's just, I'm selling $95 workshops to my audience, and that's enough for me to show up live for a day or two and deliver value. People are awesome. It provides tons of engagement. Like, you get that community feel because everybody sees each other. They're talking to each other, and
How many
it
people
works out
usually
well.
show up live, like to that webinar?
What's that?
How many people usually show up live, not to the webinar, to the workshop? Sorry.
Yeah, you'll get like 60%, depending on the topic. You'll get like 60% to show up live, and I let them all know on the sales page that they get access to the recordings too, because we get a lot of people who buy and they don't have any intention of showing up live, but they still want the content, and so they get the recordings too. So
Gotcha.
it's a drastically different model than what most people who follow other sales models do. Like they'll sell a workshop, but they won't give them access to the recording because they want more people to show up live. And I'm not here to throw stones at anyone or to say there's nothing right or wrong. It's just the audience that I serve. They're mostly people who don't have a sales background. And so I've found, because I've taught sales and marketing now for 10 years, trying to put a square peg in a round hole is extremely difficult. Trying to put someone who's not a salesperson into a sales model and trying to convince them or teach them how to sell, like how to be a salesperson, is infinitely more difficult than just letting them be in their element, showing them like, okay, here's what you can realistically expect. No, you might not get 50% conversion upsells on the back end and turn this into a multi-million-dollar event, but you can rest easy. You can teach as much as you possibly can, and you can have the goodwill and be comfortable and still convert 10 to 20% of your audience. And my audience loved that. It was refreshing for them to hear.
Yeah, I like that. And when you're doing these workshops, are we talking like 100 people are on, 500 people? Like how many people actually register for this?
Yeah. When I taught the workshop model, we had like 450 people who registered.
Wow.
Yeah, all paying, you know, $97 plus, we've got bumps and upsells and stuff like that. But yeah, it was, on average, it's like 200 for me, right?
Yeah.
But I don't run it, just to be clear, I don't run ads to the premium
Yeah.
workshops, right? I'm acquiring customers for my low ticket, building that list, and then I'm promoting my premium live workshops to that audience. So everything that I do on a premium workshop, all that ticket revenue, that's pure, that's pure profit for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Because all your front end costs are hopefully getting liquidated on that
Yep,
$27 product that you have.
100%.
I want to. It seems like we have the same trend every podcast. I start getting fascinated uh, with certain topics, and this is one because we're doing this right now in DashClicks, um, and I will shamelessly ask questions because I think the viewers have the same questions that I probably have. Like right now in DashClicks, um, we used to, well, I'll rewind. We used to do weekly webinars that were free once a week. I used to jump on for 1 hour, do a live webinar about a specific topic, then I used to hop off. When I first started DashClicks, I did one every week for 52 weeks straight. I set like a goal for myself. So for 1 year straight, I did a webinar every single week. And with the first webinar I did, there was like 10 people that showed, all the way up until, if you're doing this every single week, people just continuously show up, right? Because they want that content. So we used to get about between, on average, of about 500 people live on a webinar when we were doing this pretty consistently. We stopped doing that for about 2 years, I would say, right? Just because I didn't have the time to do it. And then recently, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I want to try to see if I can do it again, but I can't do it once a week because it's too much for me. Like it's
Hmm.
too overwhelming for me. Because people think, oh, I'll just do a live webinar. I don't jump on and do it. And it's like they don't understand. Like there's planning,
Yeah.
there's slide decks, there's a bunch of stuff
Hmm.
that I use, right? In fact, I used to do them in our studio, and just recently, I one of my goals that I set for myself this year is every time I jump into the studio, it ends up taking 5 times longer to do anything. So I literally bought this backdrop right here. I attached a mic. I put my headset on. I'm doing everything in my office, so I can come in and out of these things fairly quickly and get back to what I have, on track for my schedule, right?
Yep.
The reason why I'm asking this and I'm giving you the context for it is because now I'm like, okay, I want to do this every 2 weeks. I did a webinar like almost 2 weeks ago, right? Or maybe a week ago. This is the first one I did in like a couple of years, right? All I did was I just shot an email blast out to our list. We had, I actually have the stats here because I want to give you the stats. I'm curious to see what you would do in this situation. We had 203 people register. We had 100 people attend, 49.26% attendance rate. We had 6% close rate on our offer. It was like a $600 offer or something like that. And in my mind, I was like, okay, I'll do this maybe every 2 weeks, right? And these are free webinars. Now the problem with free is people, I feel like they're not like when something's free, it's like I don't care to show up. One
Hmm.
or two, I don't really care to implement it because if it's free and I didn't pay for it, then whatever, right?
Yep.
So it's like you get like a different audience on the free stuff. Instead of doing this strategy for free, should I maybe just add a price tag on it and do the same exact thing, but just make it paid and add like a $97, paid, and just call it a workshop? Because really, the content is kind of similar. It's like a mini workshop is really what I'm
Hmm.
doing on a specific topic, right? So just changing the context of the name and doing it this way, and then the goal is eventually is to ascend people up into other products and dash clicks, right?
So, yeah. So what is the end goal with each webinar?
Hey, do you want more of the Behind the Revenue podcast? Look, join our private Facebook group where marketing agencies from all over the world are sharing strategies, network, and scale their businesses together. Visit facebook.com/groups/dashclicks to get instant access. And also, if this podcast helped you in any way, please do me a favor, share it with friends, leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify. That really helps build our community. Great question. Originally, it was my goal for the first 2 months that I wanted to do. So I wanted to do 4 of them, right? 2 each month. My goal was not to really sell anything. And then the marketer that I am, at the end of the end of the first webinar, I sended people up into a previous 50% off Dashlix offer that we had. So it wasn't like a hardcore CTA or anything like that. It was like, hey, by the way, I'm just going to open up this landing page. Whoever bought our New Year's offer for 50% off of our software, it's open. The link's below. That's kind of what that was. I wasn't like selling a coaching program or anything like that, right? The end goal is obviously to make sales, is to get people ascended up, either one, into our Dashlix software, two, into using our white label fulfillment services at Dashlix, or three, into our high ticket coaching program, which is 6K for agencies, 6K for the year. So
Yeah.
that's what we want to do, either because we have a very weird dynamic in Dashlix, how people come to us. There's three ways really that they enter our world, and I'm going to tell you this for context so you can understand why we're not just like, okay, we'll do webinars and then we push all of our traffic into the coaching program, right? Which is normal, and that's usually what a lot of people do. Um, a lot of people will come to us for fulfillment, and then we cross sell them into software or education, or vice versa. They'll come in through the software and they're like, oh my god, you guys do
Hmm.
fulfillment, great, right? And we're just like cross selling between those three products. And in the back end of our company, it's like we treat them as like these three mini businesses that are all operating, that are cross selling between each other all the time, right? So when I come onto a webinar, I might have people that are legitimately not interested in coaching at all, but they're really here because they want to use our software, they want to use our fulfillment, right? So it's like I try to find like this happy medium in between, like where I should send people to. So
Yeah.
the goal was to have, maybe different offers kind of rotating in between. Um, the coaching program being one of those offers for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, if I were you, I would definitely try the paid workshop, because there's a couple just universal truths. This is outside of webinars and workshops and anything. Um, every audience craves variety. If they're beat over the head with a free webinar every single week, like you'll get the groupies who just show up because like, okay, cool, someone's going to talk to me for an hour as background noise, and they'll just show up with no intention of buying, and it's just like on their calendar, right? So variety is the spice of life, and that's no more true, or it's more true than anything in business. So what I mean by that is like throwing different new things at them will usually only yield good results, especially if you're open to trying new strategies.
Yeah.
So I would totally try a paid workshop, because it'll pique people's interest and get them excited about, okay, cool, like, hey, what are we going to learn here? And I would use a workshop for each silo of your business. So run a paid workshop for your software users, and either do that with the intention of like kind of cross-selling them. It's like, hey, when software users use our fulfillment services, this is what happens. And so like the workshop can be something tailored around that. You do want the workshop to be actionable, right? You want them to get some sort of result. And so like, because you have software, I think that you're in a very unique situation, because software is awesome. Like a lot of my
It's fun. Yeah.
clients and customers don't have software, so it's like I'm trying to create more value out of thin air, and like it's
Yeah,
just
yeah, I get
it
it.
can be really, really challenging with the information space. But um yeah, I would try paid workshops, and if you're, whether it's sending them into coaching or cross selling them into your other silos, I think it's an awesome opportunity to do so. I will tell you, there's nothing beats a paid customer. So someone who pays to show
100%.
up, someone like, they are way more committed than a freebie seeker who is um, just signing up just because they like webinars, they like the community feel, and that's a huge reason why people sign up for webinars. They like, either number one, talking shit to people on the webinar,
Yeah,
or number two, just
definitely.
like they just love the community feel. They like to prove, is this webinar live, blah blah blah. Like,
Yeah.
but nothing
Put in the
beats
comments all
a
the time.
paid workshop. And
I'm gonna
yeah,
have to try that. So let's kind of continue on your journey. I have more questions, but I want to continue
sure.
on your journey. So you have a low ticket offer that your drive, just to bring back the context. Low ticket offer, $27. It's your power offer, which I'm familiar with. You're driving traffic to that specific offer, and then from there, they're basically getting added onto your email list. And then every couple weeks or so, you'll just blast your email list with an offer to join a paid workshop, which is 95 bucks or whatever it is,
Hmm.
97 bucks, call it whatever it is. And then from there, you get them on. You have a couple hundred people that join. How many people are you usually just sending them straight up into the next product, which is, I'm assuming, your coaching program, your high ticket offer?
I don't have a high ticket offer anymore.
Oh wow,
My
okay,
entire business run low ticket.
wow,
Yeah. So I'm not in. Where my life is right now is pure lifestyle mode, right? So when I shut down the agency, I shut down pretty much all of my premium programs, right? Because um, I want to design it in a way, and this is not to say that you can't design, a lifestyle business with premium programs. I mean, you absolutely can. For me right now, like I'm in a transition. I'm in a stage of like kind of discovery. Like, okay, trying to figure out what's next. I get opportunities presented to me all the time, and so I want to sit and be able to analyze those opportunities from a place of just pure calm and pure like unobstructed, like I don't have any other priorities,
I love
so I
it.
can analyze the best opportunities for the next stage of like my life and my business. And I found, while running the agency, and I loved all my clients, right, that was a big distraction for me, and that prevented me from really having white space on my calendar, because there was always a client who needed to talk to me,
Always.
and it's like, so there's always fires that start, and so it took a while to shut that down, but we ended up shutting that down the end of last year. And I just
Good for
don't
you, by
have
the
a
way.
huge.
It
What's
takes
that?
I said good for you. It takes big balls to shut a working system down.
It
People
I,
have
I
done it.
should have done it about 3 years ago, because I've wanted to do it for a long time. But like, oh no, you know, we'll keep doing it. And then actually, at the start of last year, I said, you know what? Um, I'm either going to grow this really, really big, or I'm going to shut it down. And so I decided to go all in last year and invest in team, invest in resources. We hired, how many people did we hire? We hired a COO, very expensive COO. I hired, consultants, because we wanted to build big formal systems and team members and the whole 9 yards. And it just wasn't for me. It's that's not my personality type of being a CEO, of being a manager, and you really need that if you are going to be managing a big team. And so I lost a lot of joy in my business last year, and so, but I wanted to give it a shot, and so I did. It didn't work out, so lesson learned. So I shut it down, and the past like 4 or 5 months have been very enjoyable. Um, Running this workshop model, which allows me to just make all my revenue. Like
Dude,
we
yeah,
basically,
it's
yeah, it's
twice a month. You put in a couple hours a day or two. Like,
yeah, there. I did run a premium. So for the workshop that I taught the workshop model on, I did offer a 6 week sprint on the back end of that, and that was all sold. Actually, as soon as they bought the ticket, I had a quick sales page, and this is what I advise people to do. A quick sales page. There's no more than like 200 or 300 words, saying, "Hey, this is what we're going to learn in the workshop. You're going to learn everything you need on the workshop. For those of you who want to go further and want my help for 6 weeks, I'm going to have this offer. The price is, $49.95, or what was it? 49. It was, I think, $39.95. If you are interested, you'll probably know right now whether or not you're interested. I'm not asking for a yes or no. All I'm asking for is a maybe. If you put down $100 deposit right now, I'll give you $1,000 discount, and you can make your final decision at the
wow.
end of the workshop.
So
So
you
you're
were
not committed, but you're just
you're
saying, you're just
pre-selling.
locked. Yeah, it was awesome. Like,
Genius.
yeah, it works incredibly well.
This is
Um,
on the confirmation page of
yeah.
the
So after they bought
webinar
the
or
work, after they
the
exactly, this is like, so in funnel speak, this is OTO1,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they buy my workshop ticket, they get
Genius.
this message that says, "Hey, if you are interested, just put down $100 deposit, and I'll give you $1,000 discount." You know, just for saying maybe. You're not even fully committing yet. At the end of the workshop, I'll follow up with you to see if you actually want to move forward with it or not. And if you say yes, awesome, you're locked in at this price. If you want to go through the workshop and you don't want to put a deposit down right now, the offer will still be valid, but you're going to be paying an extra $1,000. So, and we had people
You
take
can't. You
both
see, you can't
options.
even do that. You can't do that with free. You'll scare people away from even showing up. But if they've already purchased from you, they
Yeah.
spent $100 to get on. They're like, okay, well,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
it's funny because you and I have grown up, but like we've been in this funnel world, in this marketing world for so long that it's like part of me thinks that we've been taught, like, I don't want to say it's the wrong way, but we've been taught a very ass backwards way of selling, or it's not ass backwards, but it's just like it's a weird way of selling. And if you are a salesperson, fine. Like, and if you're like a bona fide marketer, fine, but that is a very small percentage of people who are starting an online business or who are running any business, and especially in the info product space, because the majority of those people are educators, right? And they just want to build a side hustle, a legitimate business, and it's like, who in their right mind um, dubbed like the perfect webinar as like the only way to do a webinar with like 3 secrets, right? It's a great framework, but like, for God's sake, like, there are people who have been doing sales presentations for freaking hundreds of years, and so people get so pigeonholed into just one way of thinking, and it's like, there's something to be said where you don't want to over, like, if you do want to ascend people, you definitely don't want to overteach because you can confuse people. That's absolutely true. But I also think that the opposite side of the pendulum is equally valid, where like, if you overthink this thing and you're just going to scare the living daylights out of yourself, and you're going to wonder if like every word that you were saying while you're giving a presentation is right or wrong, or moving them away from the sale or closer to the sale, and you're just going to give yourself a heart attack. That happened to me the first time I did a live event. I followed an Ascension framework, and I damn near had a heart attack because these people paid $5,000 to fly into little old Lewiston, New York, and North Bumblefuck Buffalo, and yeah, it's just like, I gave myself a heart attack the night before because I'm like, I'm supposed to send these people. Like, I just want to deliver value,
Yep.
and so it's,
You don't want to say too much. I've been there.
yeah.
The workshops that you do, you said they were like 1-2 day workshops in
I've
different.
done I've done anywhere from 1 to 4 days, everything between 1, 2, 3, and 4 days.
And are these
Um,
like full days where you're like live on Zoom
no,
for like the whole
like,
day?
no, they're like 2 hours long.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Okay, that makes
I,
sense.
I've also done full day workshops, and those are a beast.
Yeah,
So
we've done
any
that.
one of my days, if it's a 1 day workshop, that might go like 3 hours with Q&A, 3 to 4 hours with Q&A, but they're true workshops. I mean, it's like, I am teaching, but we're getting stuff done. So like, I have worksheets that I'm like, hey, fill this out. We'll do it together. I'll take a couple people as examples. What kind of works, like, and people want that. Like, they will pay for a
It's a
quick
hundred
result.
bucks, dude. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
nothing.
mean, it's I love it. I really do. I mean, and the number one thing that I was missing in my model was the community aspect. I hate managing Facebook groups. I'm not a community builder, not a community manager, but I know the power of community. And so I wanted to get paid for my efforts. And so that's why I landed on the paid workshop model, is because we can still have that community feel once or twice a month. People are paying, and and they're getting that community feel. So that's how I've been able to nurture a community with my email list, by doing paid workshops and not having to also babysit Facebook groups and do all this other stuff that I really didn't want to do. So,
So when you do these workshops, are you? Is there any other place to assign? I know you said you recently send them up to like a 6 week kind of like accelerator type
mhm,
thing. Is that what you're doing? Are you just kind of throwing people in, a little bit maybe higher ticket programs? Because you don't have a coaching program. Usually
correct.
it's like, if anybody knows like the Russell Brunson value ladder model, it's like low ticket, mid ticket, and like the higher
Mhm.
ticket, right? So do you not have a higher ticket, or is it just stops at the workshop?
So, um, I have a premium price program, a $2,000 program, that we still sell every single month. So I wrote the book, High Ticket Courses. I got a copy somewhere back there. But anyway, I run. So I make sales to that on a regular basis as well. So a lot of times, like, so what I tell people is, you got to have like one core methodology, right? And so if you want to come up with ideas for your workshops, like, pull out 8 to 10 things from that core premium program and teach that on a workshop, right? So if I'm teaching a sliver on a workshop, what's a great upsell, or what's a great like next step for people who want more information? Hey, you should join my premium program. So my $2,000 program, there's no coaching, there's no mentorship set there. And so,
It's
I've done
not
that in the
taking your
past.
time because you're
Correct. It's not
delivering
taking
full
any more
value.
of my time.
Yeah.
So I get a $95 sale, teach them something, get them a quick win result. It's like, hey, listen, if you like this and you want more information, I've got a special deal for you to ascend into, to join my premium program, High Ticket Courses, where we take this and we apply it to blah, 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 blah. So
Yeah.
I've done that in the past as well. Yep.
Um, I'm liking this because I looking at like the back end of all this stuff because I do a lot of the things that you're doing, and in my mind, I'm like, this dude's running ads to a funnel and working like 2 days a week or 2 days a
Yeah,
month.
yeah.
I love
It's
that.
like 2 hours a week for me, really.
Even
So
yeah.
I mean, there were a few months last year where I didn't even run a workshop, because I'll also sell other stuff too. So, like I'll sell workshop recordings, for instance. I'll run a promo to sell workshop recordings, or I'll sell another,
Mm.
another low ticket course. But like, if I really want to get engagement into my list, I do live workshops because there's nothing that engages a list and gets people
Always.
excited more than a truly live workshop where I'm talking to them and building that relationship and building that bond. And so, yeah, it's been great. And so that's all I'm doing this year is the workshop model. And it's a truly it truly is a lifestyle business for
It,
sure.
it's really cool. And
Yeah.
the workshops that you're doing, because you do them every couple of weeks, and we know how hectic it can be sometimes to like build these funnels and the promotions and all that stuff, right? Or is you just have like a template or something you just dupe out and you're like, okay, this is the
Yeah. So
workshop for this.
because I don't run any slides for my workshops either. So I pretty much got rid of anything that I needed to do with a slide
Yeah,
deck. I refuse to do it in my business because slides just gave me so much anxiety.
it
Like
does, dude, and I hate
it's
it, and I'm never
they're
doing
awful,
slide
and your
decks
audience hates
again.
them too. Your
Yeah,
audience does not like slides. They really don't.
I
Every
whiteboard a lot.
time they still like cohesive content, but slides put people to sleep. And
Yeah,
there's nothing that really, I mean, most people, like 95% of people do slides wrong because like slides should really just be a big idea. Like if they have to read a slide for more than like three
oh, that's
seconds, you're doing
horrible.
them
I've seen
wrong.
people do that. Yeah,
Yeah. And it's like, so
I
why
use
even do
slides as
it?
like visuals a lot of the times if I want
Yeah.
to show like a picture or a story or something like that.
And that's fine. So like if you want to use visuals, that's awesome. But like what I've found is that if I'm not using slides at all, maybe I'll do a whiteboard doodle. People love whiteboards.
Oh,
Or I won't even
my
do that at all.
favorite.
And I'll just talk. People are far more engaged because they're waiting for what's going to happen next. And now their brain is actively listening to what's coming out of your mouth. And they're so much more engaged when there's no slides. Because it's like as soon as people see slides, like a lot of people assume, associate slides with like pitch decks or, like sales
Yep,
webinars, like, oh,
they're gonna
okay,
make
this
an
guy's gonna
offer
pitch or
stack at the
whatever.
end of this.
Yeah. And so I'm just, I'm done with them because it cut my prep time by like 80%. Because when you build slides, like you're always trying to make the perfect slide deck. It's like, I got to go edit it again and change this and change this and change this. I'm like, no, I got my core ideas and I run everything off of Google Doc. So I run my
Ooh,
sales pages because I'm running internal traffic to it. So I email my sales page as a Google Doc, and then I'll just use a basic checkout form. If there's upsells, that's just run them in my funnel account. But yeah, and then my most of my workshops are on Google Docs too. So like I'll create an agenda with all of my notes and I'll share it with my audience like as soon as we log on. Like, hey, welcome to the workshop. Here's the agenda for today. Here's all my notes. So they're following along while I'm going through it. And it's just easy. Like I literally wanted
I
to
love
make it
this.
as stress-free as
That's what I'm
possible.
trying to do this year. That's why I told you I did the whole studio move. I moved everything in here. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't take it, and I've been doing this for 6 years now. These live webinars, these
Yeah.
big productions, these challenges. We just did a challenge like a couple months ago, and I don't think I will ever do a challenge again. There was a second, big virtual event that we did, and it was like a 3 month production, like
Yeah.
not full time, but like it's just like I could have, I don't know, I could have done it in a Google Doc.
Yeah.
Honestly, it probably would have been the same thing, the
Yeah.
same outcome.
And so I do want to make it very clear of like who my target like I make the sound all, you know, relaxed and nonchalant. But like there are companies where webinars and challenges are great for them. Like if they are in aggressive scale mode, like yeah, you need to be using every sales tool in your arsenal to get more customers in through the door. And I think that those models are great for them. But that like I had to come to a realization of like what is my model? What am I looking to get out of my business and cut the fat? I was sick of all the people trying to push, everyone needs to hire, a closer. Everyone needs to hire a setter. And I'm like, do you realize, like, the vast majority of my audience, right? They want to be solo operators,
Yeah.
and adding a setter or a closer requires you to now manage people and like manage a critical employee in your business or contractor in your business that's responsible for generating revenue. Most of my people don't want to manage people. Like they want to be solo operators as much as they possibly can, maybe with an assistant here or there. But it was just like, man, it's not serving me. I got to kill it. And I
Dude,
killed
I
so
love it.
much stuff at the end of last year.
Good for you, man. I want to ask another question because this was another thing that I was curious about. Like we
Yep.
talked about, like the front end of your offer, where the
Hmm.
$27 the power offer product.
Yep.
You're running ads. I'm assuming it's probably a funnel with some OTOs and stuff like that, order bumps,
Yep.
whatever it is that um, are you're using that as a self liquidation
Yep.
tactic to basically for viewers, for context, it's a way basically to hopefully, the concept is you sell something for $27 and you get your $27 back essentially, and you cover your ad spend, right? Well, it
Yeah.
will cost you up to $27 or whatever your AOV is, average order value, right? What is your AOV on that funnel, on that front end funnel?
Yeah. It was higher when we were only going to tier one countries. And that's what we were doing for probably the first 3 years. Last year, we opened up worldwide,
Okay,
and
wow.
our our cost per acquisition went down tremendously. Like our when we were only going tier one, CPA and AOV were right around like 75 to 85, right? So that was kind of like our break even, around $75. And it would fluctuate here and there, but that was roughly what we were doing. But we couldn't really hit a very large ad spend. And we tried dozens of variations of the angle, the hook, the sales page. The reality is just the offer, the way that it's positioned right now, is in a very, very competitive marketplace. So the winning hook that has beat everything else is this is the fastest way to get 3 to 5 clients a month, right? And I wanted to go as broad as possible. But what the market is telling me is it's just a very, very saturated and very, very competitive offer. So we haven't really been able to spend more than like 1,000 to 1,500 bucks a day, and that was only once we went global, right?
Yeah.
Anytime I tried to spend like 500 bucks a day to tier one, um, our numbers would just go through the roof. Like it would be unprofitable. So we would
Is it
float.
targeting? Do you think it's like a targeting because
No, I really think it's just like that
because you're
angle, that
targeting
hook to
type?
my that audience is just very. There's lots of similar offers, and a lot of people just don't believe it, right? So without me needing to like recreate a brand new sales page or hook and angle and whatnot, like I just kind of accepted, like, okay, like this is going to have some limits within this market, which is fine. It is what it is. So anyway, so we were getting for a long time, I don't know, very low sales, like anywhere from 5 to 10 sales a day, and so we went to global, and I was nervous to go global just because I didn't really know what that was going to do to the quality of my list. Like, would they buy stuff later on, et cetera, et cetera. But what going global did, and making some other changes to like retargeting and whatnot, what got us up to like 20 to 30 sales a day, and cut our cost per acquisition like by a third. Like literally
Wow.
going global reduced our CPA from like 75 to like 25 to 35
Holy
overnight.
shit.
Yeah, it was like it was insane.
And you were still having, well, I'm assuming you said that the AOV dropped at the end.
Yes.
At
So
what
once we went global, AOV dropped to like we were making some money. So we'd make like maybe 20%, so like a 1.2 ROAS.
Yeah.
So AOV would drop to like 40 to 45, CPA would be like, I don't know, 30, 35, something like that. So that was interesting. And we are going to be
That's what
running.
you're doing right now. That's your
Yes.
current.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Those are the ads that we're running right now.
Yeah.
So we're spending
Is there
right now. We're
Hyros or anything to track?
man, screw high rows.
Really? Why? I'm just curious because we just started using them like 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
So tell me something I need to know now.
well, I also think I'm not the target market for Hyros. I'm not spending enough to make it worthwhile, right? So even like in my
Understood.
heyday, what was I spending? 500 bucks a day, 700 bucks a day, something like that. It was not a ton. I do think that you need to be spending, probably at least 1,000 to 1,500 bucks a day consistently, like on a low day, to really get the value of Hyros. Um, I've I bought them 3 times at different stages of different offers that I was running. All 3 times I canceled because it was just a nightmare to get set up, even with their like concierge setup. The last time I paid for them, I paid to get them set up. It took like 3 weeks to get it all ironed out. It was a nightmare. So
I'm two
I,
weeks in and we're still setting up.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
our setup's also a little bit more trickier because we have the whole software side, so we're trying to track a lot of different things.
yeah.
Um,
So I do want to say that I think that part of the reason why I didn't have success was that I wasn't really the ideal avatar, probably not spending enough to make a tracking software work. I used Improvely, which is like $29 a month, basic UTM tracking, and that gave me the best data ever. So
really?
um
Wow.
yeah, and so anyway, now we use Facebook's Cappy with Zapier, and that also gives us really, really good attribution. So, you know,
It works, dude. It's working for you, so that's good.
yeah, yeah.
Eh, I got another question,
Hmm.
and then I know we run out of time, so we'll wrap up here. But this has been a great call so far. We ran for our for Dashlex. We had a lower ticket product, and our goal. I think I'm answering my own question like as I'm literally about to ask it. But anyways, I'll tell it anyways for the viewers. We had a low ticket product which was also $27. It's called Agency Lawn Secrets. AgencylawnSecrets.com. It's still live. People can check it out if you want to see what it looks like.
Agency
And
what
that
secrets?
AgencyLaunchSecrets.com.
Launch. Okay.
Launch
Yep.
Secrets, yeah. And it was basically a starter kit for marketing well, it was a biz op, so it's like starter kit for people looking to start their own marketing agency, because obviously our core product is Dashlex, which is a software to run your marketing agency, and fulfillment for basically you to use, obviously, to fulfill your marketing needs for your clients. And we ran that. We probably spent like 40 or 50K in ad spend, um, running that for a couple of months, maybe like 3 or 4 months. And our average cart value on that was, I think, like 114 or $112,
That's
because we
great.
had a yeah, it was great. We had a $27 offer. I think there's a $67 order bump on that offer, and then we had OTO1 and OTO2, which was, we actually added a bunch of like crazy things in there, which, like, you can pick option A or option B, and then if you went away, like if you moved your mouse away, there was like another offer that came in. So it was like there was a bunch of like crazy stuff that we did in there. But yeah, the average order, and it was costing us, right around, also, that we were kind of like breaking even in a way. But the second the and I'm relating to what you said, the second we tried to scale it up and we tried to go past three, four, $500 a day, because we were trying to target a lot of people around the agency space, right? Even if they didn't know anything about the agency space, we tried, like, targeting like click funnels and, like, like all of these different demographics that at least knew what a marketing agency was, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't like this weird thing to them, right? Um, we saw that there was like this just limited amount of people that we could show
Hmm.
our ads to. And the second we tried to scale, it just wasn't working. And we did that for a couple of months. And then what we realized was, and it's funny because we, at the time, we were using Segmetrics for attribution and tracking and stuff like that. Um, and we ran it, and we were just like, okay, well, we're running the ads, we're breaking even or possibly losing the second we try to ramp up ad spend. We did it for a couple of months and we just stopped. And then I remember in Segmetrics, I was looking with our new ads guy. We were like, well, what are the things that we did in the past? This, by the way, is, I'm talking about like a year and a half, 2 years ago, right? I'm like, what are the things that we did that were working and weren't working? We started going through like our ad account. We're like, well, we tried this, we tried this, we tried, to relive like all of these different things. And we're like, okay, well, we had agency law secrets. And I go into Segmetrics and I see that even like a year and a half later, after running this whole agency law secrets campaign, we still basically pretty much broke even, right? On even people that came into our world. The goal was for us to get them in at $27, upsells, whatever it is, and then hopefully they would either buy Dash clicks or use our fulfillment, or like they would ascend somewhere and spend money. But that was a way for us to get them
Hmm.
into our world. And then what we realized was, after running that, it was a lot of these biz op things. A lot of the times they will just buy that one thing, and if you don't have a really good back end system, they will not buy anything else, because it's like just this one thing that they were kind of interested in. And it's also very hard in our space for new agencies to be successful, because it's so saturated, and if you're
Hmm.
not like doing it the right way, a lot of people think like they can come in and start an agency, and within like 30 days That's it. They can retire and like send their kids to school. And like it doesn't work like that. It's like a real business, right? So I think for us, we just didn't do it right. Like we didn't have a proper game plan, and also we were targeting a market that was very hard to scale with ads, right?
Yeah, here's my thought around that. I don't think that you did it wrong. I think because I wrestled with this for a long time with my Power Offer workshop. Um, a lot of us think that we are in larger markets than we are, right?
Mm.
And the reality is we're really in small markets unless you're going true biz op and like you are truly going as broad as possible. And biz op is going to be like how grandma can make $1,000 a day
Yep.
or can make $1,000 a month on the side, without needing to launch a website. Like that would be like true biz op,
Yep.
right? How anyone can make money on the side, um, doing this, awesome make money online tactic. And that's not the agency space. If you are an aspiring agency owner, you do need to have skill sets,
Yeah,
right?
you do.
That's not that's not your broad biz op opportunity, your Amazon Kindle publishing space, your drop shipping, right? Where, you just need to be a monkey who can search and use tools and click some buttons and you can make some money. And I had to come to grips with that with the Power Offer because I hired lots of agencies to try and help me scale. And everyone promised me, oh, yeah, you got a great funnel and, oh, this is broad, right? Like, here's how to get clients. That's about as broad as you can possibly go in our space. But the reality is that, this is some of the greatest data that you can acquire from an advertising platform like Facebook. It will tell you how large your market is. And for us who sell to agency owners, business owners, like it's not a large market. It
You'll see
really
it on the
isn't.
frequency.
Yeah,
You'll
you
see
look
it.
at the frequency exactly, and or just like look at your ad spend. Like when do your metrics go to shit? Right? Is it 400
About
bucks a day?
100 bucks
Is
a
it a
day.
thousand bucks a day? Right? And that's
Yeah.
why like e-commerce companies are so wild is because they sell products to the masses that are infinitely larger than our markets. Like to them, $4,000 a day in ads is like their test budget because they will get data immediately. They'll get buyers immediately. So one of the
Yeah.
things that I
Who needs
considered
a
was,
T-shirt?
yeah,
Everyone.
yeah. So
Everyone
like
needs a T-shirt.
one of the things I considered was, you know, going into large markets like that and being a CMO. Like I'm not like shutting down my business, but like that was one of
Yeah.
the opportunities that presented itself to me. It's like getting equity in, some other companies and helping them grow because I think it was Warren Buffett said, and I'm going to butcher his quote. It's not really a quote, but basically he said like the biggest mistake that people make is getting in the wrong ship, getting in the wrong boat, right? And to translate that to business, it's like getting in the wrong offer that doesn't have the potential that you want it to have, right? There's always ways to squeeze extra money through by selling to your existing customers or whatnot. But if you run an advertising driven business, you know, you better make sure you've got a large market that you can advertise to. Otherwise, you're gonna have a very small part of your business around advertising, or you're just gonna keep beating your head against the wall, wondering why you can't spend more money. The answer has been staring you at the face. You just don't. You have a market size issue, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to come to grips with that because I'm like, why can't I spend more than $400 or $500 a day? Like I tested a ridiculous amount of upsells. I tested a ridiculous amount of sales pages. I tested a ridiculous amount of ads. Every single time I'd get to $400 or $500 a day, and then like the numbers would just go completely haywire. And it's just like, what's that
I
telling
can
me?
relate. Yeah, I can
You know?
relate. That's what happened to our offer.
Yep.
All right, man. I can sit here. We could talk about this for fucking forever. Just okay. All right. We're gonna cut it. Joel, as always, it's always a pleasure to have you on into our world, into our viewers. If anybody wants to get in touch with you or see maybe what this power offer is that we've been talking about, where's a good place for them to go check you out?
Yeah. Best spot is powerofferworkshop.com. And I'll just say one final thing. The reason why I haven't stopped promoting that is because that's the biggest brand builder for my business, meaning it gets everybody the best results, the fastest results with the least amount of effort, right? That's the only reason why I've kept using that as my front end marketing tool because it just gets incredible results. So
And it's
I mean,
27 bucks.
it's $27. We've had people build 8-figure businesses off the back of that workshop
Crazy.
because it validates offers, it validates businesses, helps you validate for the cheap. get booked appointments, shows you how to structure an offer. It's one of the best things you can invest in.
We just recently had somebody on the podcast. I want to say it was Tyler Narducci.
Oh yeah, he was a client of mine. Yeah.
Yeah. So he actually shouted you out. He's like, dude, like Joel's, program or whatever it is that he took. We didn't really get into context. He was like, dude, like that's what I use to basically create my whole business model. Like, and
Yeah.
he's crushing it, man. He's doing very good.
He's doing very, very well. I love Tyler. He was a great dude. He was so nervous when he joined the program. And I get it. It's like part of like the problem I deal with is I deal with all startups, and I'll throw it in air quotes, mostly startups.
Yeah.
And most of those guys are cash strapped. I get it. It's like you want to invest in a coaching program. You don't have any clients yet, or you have maybe a couple referrals or whatever. Like it was tough. There was a lot of stress working with the clients. And, I know Tyler was nervous when he first joined, and I'm like, dude, you got a killer offer. I'm like, you really do.
It's funny because his podcast, and I had to change the name of the podcast. The name of the title was a full-blown funnel breakdown. We literally broke down his entire client acquisition funnel from A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
And now we know where he got it from. So great job.
Yeah.
All right. Once again, thank you so much, Joel. We appreciate you, brother. And hopefully we'll have you on here very soon.
You bet. Thanks, dude.
Hey, do you want more of the Behind the Revenue podcast? Look, join our private Facebook group where marketing agencies from all over the world are sharing strategies, network, and scale their businesses together. Visit facebook.com/groups/dashclicks to get instant access. And also, if this podcast helped you in any way, please do me a favor, share it with friends, leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify. That really helps build our community.